everyone, and welcome back to my art channel. Today I am drawing my Witchsona. I know Witchsona week was a couple of weeks ago, so I'm a little late to the game, but here we are now. I'm doing it. So for the pose, I really wanted to kind of do, I don't know how to describe it, but I usually sit with like one leg up, so I kind of wanted to have that sort of a pose. And actually originally I was sort of thinking I would be on a broomstick or just sort of like flying, but I sort of decided that it would look better if I was sitting on a wall rather than on a broomstick. Just because that adds a bit more interest and it's sort of different, because I know this picture ended up being rather similar to the first speed paint that I put up here. I mean, I know they're both sort of self-portraits. Actually, everything that I've put on my YouTube channel so far is sort of a self-portrait-ish type thing. So I think next time I'm gonna try to not do a self-portrait, maybe add some variety and everything. Anyway, I decided to give myself a familiar, a cat, because I like cats. And I really wish I could have a cat right now, but we just can't. And I also only went through and did one sketch layer instead of two. So we just skipped right over to inking, which is probably good because this video is long enough as it is. So I'm actually using OBS to do the screen capture this time, and that's why you can see more of the windows and you can see my little line stabilizer plugin down in the lower left hand corner. That's Lazy Nizumi, and it helps me out a lot when I'm doing digital art. Right now, while I'm doing the line art, I have the smoothing set to massive, and that just sort of smooths everything out, makes it easier to get those nice long lines that aren't too wobbly. I do have it on subtle when I'm sketching, but I find it very helpful to up the smoothing for when I'm doing line art, just to make it nice and crisp and clean. And I know that this newest version of Photoshop does have a native smoothing tool for the brushes, but I don't like it as much as Lazy Nizumi. I don't feel that it's as good, I guess. It's just, it's less intuitive, there are less options. I mean, I guess not necessarily less intuitive because it does go by a percentage system, but I don't like it as much. And it also doesn't have any of the cool rulers and guides that I really love with Lazy Nizumi. And you'll see me using the parallel line ruler a little later when I'm doing part of the background. And so here I am using the parallel line ruler to sort of map out where the bricks in this brick wall are going. And originally I was going to just draw every single brick individually, but I realized that it would take a lot less time, and it would also look better if I just draw one brick and then copy it into place a bunch of times, because then, you know, it's easier to get the spaces between the bricks and they're not just all like completely parallel. It gives a little bit more variation in the spacing between the bricks. And I'm actually really happy with how this wall turned out. Yeah, looks good. And then of course, you know, my magic wand does some sparklies because I'm a big fan of sparklies. And for the coloring, it's just, you know, normal coloring process. Nothing fancy, nothing different from the last time I did any coloring. I didn't really plan out the color scheme ahead of time, which I know I probably should have, but honestly, like, especially with digital art, it's so easy to fix things and change things and make things look good. I sort of prefer to make it up as I go. And I chose pinks and purples because I secretly wish I were Rapunzel, so yeah, let's just go with that. And then I made my little familiar a black and white cat because I like black and white cats. He's sort of a tuxedo cat, but not really. I don't know. He's cute and I like him, and I wish I had a cat like that. Or just any cat. It doesn't have to be like that. For the brick wall, like you just saw, I wanted to add a little more variation in the colors, so I just sort of randomly added some extra colors, some different colored bricks throughout. Oh yeah, and I realized that I drew my waist way too small, so even though I'd already gone and colored it, the beauty with digital art is that I can just fix that on the fly like that, even after the color flatting has been done, because it's so easy to change things. And this time for shadows, I went with a much more desaturated purple. It almost looks gray. It's kind of a grayish purple. I think later I do go in and hue shift that layer, so it ends up being a little more saturated as far as shadows go. And I don't know if this is before I turn on multiply on the layer yet or not. I can't tell from here. I think I did. Yeah, I think it does say multiply. I don't know. I have my video preview up really tiny, so I can't quite read the words on the screen. But that's okay. It doesn't really matter. Because what I did was what I did, and it turned out looking good, so I'm happy with it. But yeah, this time I wanted to do cooler shadows because I'm gonna have the warm yellow light from the sparks coming out of my wand be the main light source. And I just really love working with cool, interesting lighting effects. That's just, it's really fun for me. It's what makes art fun. That's what I like about art, is just making things look cool. And there you saw I fixed the cat's leg a little bit, because it was not quite touching the wall, so it looked like he was kind of floating or weirdly perched. Anyway, again, beauty of digital art is how easy it is to fix things. I think one thing that I learned from this process was that one of the best ways to really like your art and really like your final product when you're doing art is to go in with no expectations. I went into this with just the idea that I want to draw my Witchsona. I didn't really have any clear ideas as to the pose. I didn't really have any clear ideas as to the color scheme or really anything. I just knew I'm gonna draw myself as a witch. And because I didn't really have a clear picture in my head of how I wanted it to look, there was no way for me to be disappointed with how the picture ended up looking because there was nothing for me to compare it to in my head. And so that's a really good lesson for me and for anyone who does art, really. It's to don't form too clear a picture in your head of what you want your final artwork to look like before you start making it, because that way you won't be disappointed when it doesn't look exactly the way it looks in your head. And I think somebody else made a video on that topic recently, probably, or maybe a few people, I don't remember. But yeah, I just think that's a really important message. And in the end, I decided to add a little moon in the background, and I realized the moon would also cast some light, so I added a little bit of rim lighting on the back edge of the figures, just to make it look, to kind of fit things in more to the picture. And we're just about to finish up here, so I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up to tell me that you liked it. And you can also subscribe to this channel to see more videos in the future, and click the little bell for notifications if you want to be notified every single time I post a video. Oh, and also I just opened a shop on Redbubble, so if you want to buy prints of my scattered illustration or of this illustration, they will be available at redbubble.com/artandrachelart, and I'll have the link to that in the description. So yes, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!